even worse than what you think. You think, rightly so, that he doesn't care about most Americans and that he's a dishonest politician. You're right. And that's why he can't look at people in the eyes. I've seen him up front. This man is a clinical narcissist. It's not just that he doesn't look anybody in the eyes. He literally thinks of himself as a sovereign king. He thinks of himself as an emperor, like an old Roman emperor, like Nero or Caligula, that he can do whatever he wants, and that there are no moral consequences to any of his actions. So what you perceive as him not looking us in the eyes, it is for him a sign of complete contempt, of utter contempt. This is his country. This is his White House. This is his world. And he has a right, like some mad Roman emperor, to rule over us like we are his subjects. We are not citizens. We are not people that he is proud of, that he says, this is my America. These are my Americans. This is the unique, exceptional land of freedom and liberty that has liberated Europe from Nazi occupation, that defeated the Soviet Empire, that fought the greatest revolution the world has ever seen. No, for him, this is a country to colonize, to break. And what you're going to see tonight is him literally with that contemptible look on his face saying, do I have to even speak to my citizens? Can't they see I told Energy Secretary Chu to take care of it. Stephen Chu is a Nobel Prize winner. You should be happy. Didn't I tell BP I have the boot on their neck? You should be happy. Listen, I know what I'm doing. It's going to be like Chavez or Castro giving a speech. It's not about you. It's not about the people on the Gulf. It's all about him. My friends, he is not a president. He is a dictator and an emperor. And tonight, we're going to see, once and for all, this emperor has no clothes. Let's go to Norman in San Francisco. Norman, thanks for holding, and welcome to the Savage Nation.
Thank you. Yes, you had mentioned about how there had been nothing criminal with BP, and to a certain degree that's true. But let me just point out one thing, that when the spill did occur, they let us know, the people, that it was 225,000 gallons a day. Now, had they really, just told the truth, this is my disappointment with BP. They could have just they were afraid to tell us that it was 10 times more. I can understand that. But had they done that, we would have moved quicker. The whole nation would have moved quicker. But we got it little increments at a time. Nobody knew all of that. You cannot tell me in this day and age, with our technology and our instruments and equipment, that we did not know or that they did not know from the very start how many gallons were coming.
Norman, I want to thank you for that call. No, look, you're right. Believe me, I'm not absolving BP. BP is squarely to blame. It's their accident. It's their rig. That's our water. That's our Gulf Coast that's being polluted. That, to me, is an environmental treasure. Those are our Americans. I understand it's easy for these clowns in Hollywood and in New York, all of these sort of radical cultural left-wingers, to mock middle America. I know how they've been portrayed in Hollywood, as these sort of toothless redneck hillbillies who are ignorant with 6th grade educations, all of them sleeping with their cousins. That's the joke. So nobody gives a damn about these poor people. But here's the question I have for all these leftists in New York, Washington, and Hollywood. Tell me, who are the ones that fight for this country? Who are the ones that risk their lives in Iraq and Afghanistan? It's the blood of middle Americans. It's the people from Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi and Iowa and Kansas and Wyoming and all parts in between. Oh, when it comes to them spilling their blood, then suddenly they're not toothless hillbillies. You hide behind them for your freedoms, but then you mock them here at home in the safety and security that they fight and die for. My friends, those Americans are our Americans, and they deserve our help. And what BP did to me was utterly unethical and immoral. Yeah, you're right. They lied. It's millions of barrels of oil, not 225,000. And they should pay for the entire cost of the cleanup, for the entire cost of the containment, and for all the damage that they're going to do to people's livelihoods and to our shoreline. But now is not the time for finger pointing. Now is the time for decisive leadership. Let's take the dear leader at his own words. He's a wartime commander now. During World War II, tell me, did FDR and Churchill, did they keep pointing the finger at Chamberlain saying, well, if you only had not appeased Adolf Hitler, we wouldn't be in this mess? Neville, why did you appease Hitler? Why did you appease Hitler? Why did you do that? We didn't. We said, forget what happened. Now we're facing a crisis, and it's a fight to the finish. We have all the resources in the world. My friends, we are the greatest superpower in the history of humanity. You are going to tell me that we can't clean up and burn and contain an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico? Are you going to tell me this with a straight face when we literally forged civilization, the greatest civilization in the world, out of wilderness? Where we broke the greatest military force in the world, Hitler's Germany? Where we destroyed the greatest empire in the world, the Soviet Union? And now, all of a sudden, we're impotent on a Gulf oil spill? My friends, what Obama is doing in the Gulf of Mexico is symbolic of what he is doing to our economy and to our standing on the world stage. We are an economic and military colossus. No force on earth can stop us. And instead, we lie like a pitiful, pathetic giant, blaming everybody for all the problems in the world. Mr. President, you said several weeks ago, the buck stops with you. Be a grown-up and accept responsibility. You are not up to the task of being President of the United States. If you had a shred of honor, a scintilla of dignity, do the honorable thing. Tonight, on national television, say, you know what? I perpetrated a fraud upon you, the American people. I thought I was ready for prime time. I thought I was ready to be president. I'm not. And I hereby tender my resignation, effective immediately. Let's go to Joe in New York. Joe, I'm going up against a break. You got about a minute. Go, baby.
Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Joe,
Jeff.
you got a minute. Go.
Okay, Jeff, I want to talk about this, the cap and trade legislation, which will be pushed. This issue is going to be leveraged to get this passed. Why did he drag his feet to go down to Louisiana? Why did it take him so long? Because I don't believe he was startled. I don't think he was shocked or surprised. I believe he's in on this in some way. Now, the CCX is the Chicago Climate Exchange. It's an exchange to give credit to companies for their emissions of carbon emissions. And it's all a farce anyway, because carbon dioxide is not a toxic. Plants use it very well, and animals and us emit it. So the CCX is already in operation, and it's trading in third world countries and other countries forests and rainforests in an effort to lower the tax burden on these companies when they emit these carbon emissions. The whole thing is a farce. It's a tremendous scandal, and it's a way to siphon money out of the United States, this blessed little country of ours, is the greatest country on earth, to siphon money out of and resources from us to redistribute it to the rest of the world. So the carbon.
Well said, Joe. Bingo. You nailed it. It's a form of green redistributionist socialism. Take from American companies and distribute it to other companies around the world. And if you notice, who is benefiting from selling all of these carbon credits that are going to be forced by cap and trade? Al Gore, George Soros, all of the big sugar daddies of the Democratic Party. My friends, this is not just a fraud. It is a massive swindle and scam, and you, the American taxpayer, are going to have to pay for it. This is Jeff Kuhner, sitting in for the living legend, Michael Savage, on the Savage Nations.